Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the midweek Flagler weather update. And this is Flagler Weather Info. We will be go ahead and talking about what's going on with our weather here in Flagler County. We're looking at a satellite image right now. Kind of tells a story. There's a front that's kind of stalled to the south of us. You notice this, you can see these clouds going all kind of different directions. Here you get clouds coming onshore this way. You get clouds going this way. And got some thunderstorms down here in South Florida, some thunderstorms out over the Gulf of Mexico. So we have a front that's kind of stalled out over the area. And behind that front, we're getting that there's high pressure off to the north. Behind that front, we're getting the wind coming in off the ocean because there's high pressure to the north and the front to the south. Get a little bit of squeeze play there, and that's why we have this weather pattern. And this pattern's going to kind of continue. Though some drier air might get in here and try to thin out the rain chances a little bit over the next few days. So it's possible we might be done with the real heavy rain, at least for a little while. But this breezy onshore wind is going to stay with us. So let's first talk about our flooding concerns because I know there's some folks out there. Fortunately, the flooding that we're experiencing is very isolated, very here and there. So it's not widespread, but it is of concern to some, and so we're going to talk about that. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and take a look at our flood gauges around the area. And so this is Bing's Landing. And so right now we are getting up into the moderate flood stage here. And so that typically will give us a little bit of water in Flagler Beach over certain parts, especially South Flagler Avenue, South 23rd Street, around there. You are going to see water up on the street due to this. So this is the gauge coming up to into very low end of moderate flood gauge right flood stage rather. So that's the Bing's Landing gauge. If we go look at the one at Palisade Creek, Palisade Creek is staying in the minor flood range right now, so no significant issues there. Bing's Land, not Bing's, but down here Bull Creek, southeast part of the county. We did peak in moderate flood stage. It looks like it's now starting to come down, so that's some good news down that way. Out here on the west side of the county, we have some problems going on out here. We do have, looks like we are into the very low end of major flood stage out here on the west side of the county. This is Haw Creek. So this is affecting, so places like Russell Landing, Bull Creek, places like that are going to have some issues with flooding with the water levels up this high. And then over here at Shell Bluff, which is on Crescent Lake, we can see there we're just tapping. Actually, we're staying in a minor range, it looks like right now. It looks like we may have leveled off there. So the most notable one to kind of be aware of right now is Bing's, because Bing's is what tells you what's going to be happening in Flagler Beach, because the tide here at Bing's, this usually takes a few hours to translate down to Flagler Beach. So we have seen some of the king tide rather, in Flagler Beach, and especially in those really low trouble spot areas. We're not expecting any widespread flooding, like we had with Milton or any of the bad nor'easters or tropical cyclones. Definitely not expecting that at all. But with the king tides, we do have a flood advisory that's in place into Thursday early. So National Weather Service Jacksonville I think they're thinking right now is that this may begin to ease maybe towards the end of the week. But we'll have to see what happens. They've been extending that flood advisory, coastal flood advisory, periodically through the week. So anyhow, so that's what's going on with all that, with the flooding right now. Taking a look at hazards, start at the top here. So small craft advisory, some locations in the offshore waters, coastal flood advisory through Thursday, and that's why we are seeing some of that water, that high water, and because of that, they've issued a coastal flood advisory. High risk of rip currents and minor beach erosion. That's going to stay with us. And just a reminder that coastal flood advisory means that minor coastal flooding at high tide can be expected through Thursday, especially in those really low-lying areas. There's a high risk of dangerous rip currents and small craft advisories are offshore. Just a reminder that with coastal flooding, tidal flooding, and some of the flooding on the west side of the county, if you don't know how deep it is, do not drive through it. And especially if you're like in Flagler Beach, that is salt water. Don't drive through it. It's going to mess your car up. That salt water is going to get up and mess your vehicle up, so just do not drive through it. That's the main message. West side of the county, where we're seeing some roads underwater there too, you don't know how deep that water is. There could be a washout or something, so just if you don't know how deep it is, Don't drive through it. It's best advice not to drive through it at all. Tropics, well, things are waking up a little bit out there. We do have another system. It has a very low chance of development in the next 7 days. It's 20% chance of development in the next 7 days. That is a very low-end issue out there in the tropics, at least for right now. We will continue to monitor that as we go through, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and talk about our tropics. Actually, let's talk about that right now. So this is the area that is of concern. It looks like a tropical wave. This is the disturbance. It's going to come off the coast of Africa, and then right along here, it's going to have, at least right now, a low chance of getting organized as it moves over the tropical Atlantic. So low chance of that right now. We'll have to monitor the National Hurricane Center and see if they upgrade or downgrade these chances. We don't have anything else going on anywhere else in the tropics right now. So let's talk about our local weather right now. And so for tonight, we have very minimal rain chances, not like it was last night. And rainfall amounts, we had anywhere from 5 to 9 inches of rain, depending where you were in the county. So tomorrow, looking at maybe about a 30% chance or a 20% chance of catching a shower or a thunderstorm off the ocean during the course of the day. There will be very few and hit or miss. I know they have the 9/11 events going on tomorrow. It looks like overall the weather's going to cooperate with you all at this point in time. So that's what it looks like. As we go into Friday, we're actually looking pretty good right now as far as weather risk are concerned. Just a very slight chance of a shower or a thunderstorm. We're not expecting anything significant. Saturday, rain chances start to come back up a little bit, maybe about a 40-50% chance. But nothing, we don't see anything really escalating like it did before. Additional rainfall amounts, maybe inch to half inch for the next 7 days. That is not counting what we got. But let's talk about the breeze and the wind, because the wind will be a little bit of a factor as we go through the next few days here. So for tonight, we can expect, for tomorrow rather, we can expect wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour along the beaches. Rather gusty. I wouldn't be surprised to see the odd gust up to gale force along the beaches, but mostly peaking right around 30 miles an hour for your peak gusts. For tomorrow, those winds increase a little bit, gusting up to 37 on Friday rather. This is Friday. So winds may actually gust up to gale force in the northeast part of the county. And as we get into Saturday, winds actually increase a little bit more. We even are looking at the potential for gust to gale force right along the beaches here, especially along the immediate beach itself. Gust up to 40 miles an hour possible at Marineland, gusting up to 38 in Flagler Beach, gusting up to 35 in Beverly Beach. So even though the rain chances are not going to be very high, those winds are going to be there. Sunday looks like that we still stay rather breezy with gusty winds at the beaches. Again, the odd gust gale force possible, but winds start coming down. And as we go into Monday, those winds start to come down a little bit more. And as we get into Tuesday, those winds come down with peak gusts in the 20s, which is typical where it normally is for this time of year. Let's talk about temperatures real quick, and we're going to take a look at that. And so for tonight, generally lows, upper 70s beaches, lower 70s inland, and that's kind of going to be this, the temperatures throughout the period here. Highs generally in the mid 80s, a little bit cooler beaches, warmer inland as we go through Thursday, and then Friday about the same. So you don't really see any significant changes in temperature as we go through the week. Now we get towards, there's some rumors of some cooler air coming in. There might be some drier air coming in, but we don't see any major drops in temperature as we go through the next several days here. It looks like we're going to be highs in the 80s, lows in the 70s as we go through the next 7 days. So anyway, so that's generally going to wrap things up for tonight's weather briefing. Again, looks like the risk of very heavy rain, looks like that is starting to ease now, but it'll still be breezy along the beaches. Coastal flood advisories in place until early Thursday. We'll see if the National Weather Service keeps those up or not, but because of that, expect that tidal flooding, those really low areas, especially South Flagler Avenue, South 23rd Street and Flagler Beach, right along the immediate intercoastal waterway, and also out on the west side of the county, Russell Landing, Bull Creek, those places out there, Hall Creek, are up at flood level as well due to all the rainfall, and we may actually start to see that start to settle. So if you just joined us and you've missed everything, you can rewind, and we'll also be putting up a YouTube link as well. So everybody else there, have a great evening, and thank you for watching.